Welcome to Real Talk. Today is Wednesday the 23rd, and the topic today is, can bad info given by the authorities, can it determine the course of another person's actions, and how could it determine another person's actions? What do you think about that, Josh?
Well, the first thing I think about is Philip Zimbardo's classic prison experiment that I believe was conducted in Stanford University. And he wound up getting a whole bunch of these volunteers together. I think all young men or those in graduate programs, something of that nature. And they did basically a flip of the coin to decide how some would be prisoners and others would be prison guards, and got them to enact these roles in an enclosed setting, closed off from the public. They all signed volunteer waivers. They all signed volunteer waivers to get them to the understanding that the only way that they weren't a part of the project was to sign out completely. So they had to go all in. And what we found out was that in those roles, the prisoner actor students wound up acting like prisoners and letting the authority guard actors become authorities to them. So I guess what I'm saying from what we understand from that project, is that if there's perceived authority, people will act as if others have power over them.
I think that I found that experiment to be pretty interesting myself. I think that one of the important roles was the development of time, because when the prisoners, when the real people became fake prisoners, it took them a matter of time to acclimate to their fake positions, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of them thought it was jokes, at first. And then as time started progressing, yes, we did see that. We did see, normal people assaulting normal people. Mm-hmm. It's odd that we just assimilate into a role that's fictional.
Is there something to go hand in hand with a perceived authority, like when someone thinks that someone else is in a position of authority, that's meaningful to them? And don't we do what's meaningful because we think that falls in line with what our purpose in life is?
Yes. And wow, yeah, that was a good question, by the way. Yes, I really do. Hate to keep bringing up the guy, but because he was just a master of perception, Hitler. I don't idolize the guy. I do not ever idolize the guy. I don't like his concepts, but I do admire his art of perception. And Hitler did the same thing pretty much with the guards and the prisoners did.
In what way did he do the same thing?
I know there's going to be a lot of comments on this one, but I don't even think that he murdered as many Jews in the Holocaust as stated. To have facilities already established in a time of war to kill millions and millions of people.
Can I clarify a thought on this one?
Yes, go ahead.
So basically, he set up the sort of the authority positions.
Yes.
The hierarchy.
Yes.
Of those guards and people that would believe he is in a position of power.
Right.
To fit their purpose, which was to not be poor Germans, and to be superior to some sort of scapegoat race like the Jews.
Exactly.
And are you saying that Hitler in that way was sort of like Philip Zimbardo, and that he set up the right situation, the right dramatical situation for people to find purpose in behaving how they behaved?
Yes. Because what do you need to cause proof? You need a building, and you need pictures that people died. That's all you need. Mm-hmm. And people were like, whoa, this actually happened. And then just put a million people died.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if no one questions that, hey, where's the bodies? Hey, what's going on? Did you know that in Germany right now, there is a law to, if you debunk the Holocaust, you will go to jail. Why do you think that's there? Yeah.
What do you?
That's
I don't
weird,
know.
isn't it?
It's very weird.
Why would why would you need a law like that?
Well, right.
Why? If the Holocaust actually existed, and I don't want to get the Holocaust in the main topic. I know there's going to be a lot of comments on this.
Well, there's a lot of authority in
Yes.
the Holocaust, so it's a huge. Everything that the Holocaust was made possible by perceived authority.
Exactly. Perceived, and the art of perception is crazy. I would have said a little bit different wording, but it is crazy.
So let's look at a non-critical example of that. You said your wife went to go buy something.
Okay, yeah. I'll give you a perfect example. We went down to Lowe's to purchase a Christmas tree. Way back when. Okay, we approached the service rep. Hey, we're looking for a tree. We heard that that your ad said you get a 8 foot or 6 to 7 foot. I'm sorry, 6 to 7 foot tree for $35, but you also get a $10 gift card. Right? That was their whole advertisement. So we went there to get one, and he said, "You know what? We got there pretty early. It was like maybe late November, early December." So he said, "I would not buy a Christmas tree because if you buy a Christmas tree right now, in a week it's going to turn brown and it's going to die. Plus, you're not going to get the gift card." So my wife said, "You know what? Maybe we shouldn't do it. You know? I mean, he's right.
This guy seems to know the law of the land.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to buy a Christmas tree and it's going to turn brown and we're going to lose this money and we're not going to get a gift card." I said, "You know what? It doesn't sound right to me because previously we did the same thing. We bought a Christmas tree and we got a gift card." I said, "Let's just do it anyway," because I had that past experience. But if I didn't have that past experience, he would have persuaded me. And I guess the biggest question is, how many other people has he persuaded? How much money had Lowe's lost because of bad information?
Well, how many people did he persuade, given that those customers didn't have prior experience in knowing the difference?
Exactly.
And so that raises a good question. How much of authority, perceived authority, do we give to someone when we're introduced to a new situation where we just think that they know better?
Yeah. And why do we give those people the authority?
Well, there's got to be certain, and I think a critical assumption is that we trust them to some degree.
Yeah.
But why? Who trusted Hitler?
Yeah.
I mean, why? No, really. Why did enough people go, "I trust him"?
I don't know. I'm not. That's a good question. If anybody has an answer to that, please respond. But people gave them that authority, you know, to be in that position. And it's no different than Mussolini, Donald Trump, or...
Well, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Trust or the authority? So maybe it's also a matter of how they present themselves. Maybe there is literally a way authority appears to be. And so maybe, because there are times when I know that I've had authority where I'm like, "You don't know shit."
Yeah.
And then there's times when I'm like, "You know all the shit."
Right.
And sometimes that authority made itself known by its title, or because they had a certain badge on, or because other people told me that they were an authority. So I guess my question to you is, what do you think are some examples of real authority, and how do you justify the claim that they are real authority? What, maybe just one example even.
Wow, that's a good question.
You could use yourself as an example of an authority figure, however you like.
Okay, I give you another example. Okay, way back then again. All my stories go like way back then, like I'm 80 years old or something,
back.
right? Way back then.
Michael Tolliver, pass the prune juice and tell a story.
All right, sonny boy. Okay, so about 5 years ago, maybe 6, my son, because we went down to the doctor. My wife and I went down to the doctor to get a checkup because we was trying to conceive our first kid. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor did her doctor things, checked up, right?
In her doctorly way.
Right, in her doctorly way, because we trust the doctor, so we know you got the white coat, right? You got the degrees on the wall. That's all trust, right? So.
Is that confidence or trust? Is there a difference? I don't mean to stop your story, but you introduced trust real quick there, and I'm thinking, they have paper on the wall.
Doesn't mean that you know, but that's how I thought at the time. Okay?
Okay.
That's what I thought at the time.
Okay.
So, anyway, to make a long story short, the doctor said, you know what? There's a thin chance that you would ever get pregnant without in vitro. It crushed her. Crushed her totally. Can you imagine?
I can. I can and I can't.
Okay? So at that time, we left the doctor. We was in the car. I was like, I'm a spiritual person, just like you are. And I said, you know what? It is not up to a human being to tell you that you cannot conceive a kid.
Amen.
It is up to God. And that's how I feel. If I'm not trying to disrespect other people's feelings, but that is how I feel. You know? So we prayed on it, and she conceived a kid.
Amen.
Then had another one. So it's a good point that you brought up. What creates that level of trust? Degrees? What is education? Can anybody join a course and pass a course? I mean, does passing a course signify intelligence?
Well, I think to some degree, or I think it signifies intelligence to some degree, or on some level. I don't think it means, if we both get the same degree, are we both going to be the same amount of knowledgeable?
Right.
Probably not. Or not amount, but same quality of intelligent. For me, confidence comes... I think trust is multidimensionality.
Okay.
I think that if I go to work, there's some people I can trust to do teamwork with me, but I wouldn't trust that I could ask them to walk my dogs when I'm not home.
And why is that? Is it just based on behavior? Past behaviors, have past experiences that you could trust this person? Because this person don't have degrees, right?
Yeah, it's an accumulation of experiences where I understand what's appropriate to ask of someone. So, like, I automatically know going into a job they're not my family. Over time, they could become family. But I assume that they're there to get work done. And I guess for me, to trust or build confidence in that someone is an authority on what they talk about, it is in their behavior. It is in where, do they put their money where their mouth is? And then sometimes it's not that either, because I've also worked with people that take that you don't know that they're developing themselves in their personal life to get to a point where they can prove that they're trustworthy. So I don't have a definitive answer. I think it's something that takes time to discern, and I guess the first indicator that we're on a good trend towards trust or confidence is how we work together.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah.
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 That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to think, like, how far does this bad information go? Came from, like.
Well, let's assume the audience doesn't know what you mean by bad information.
Okay.
Like in the instance where your wife got bad info about how she should spend her money on the Christmas tree.
Yes, and that's one example. Even childhood. I know I'm speaking for myself at this time, but maybe other people feel the same way. When I was raised, I was never taught budgeting. I was never taught finances, investments, what I should do with my money. Instead, public education, in my opinion, teaches us consumerism, how to spend, how to go out and do that. Not pay bills, but just spend on frivolous things. And we could go through mass marketing propagandas like McDonald's. I think every generation knows McDonald's because of their commercials and how they infiltrated our communities, as well as manipulated our behaviors through their marketing tactics. But I guess, let me backtrack, okay? Sometimes not teaching your kids would be bad info, right?
Negligence.
Exactly. But would you consider it being bad info? Even though they don't know, wasn't taught by their parents, which would be my grandparents, their ignorance, in my opinion, is bad info to me and my future, unless I have the ability where I could just educate myself. But if I wasn't motivated to educate myself, that ignorance would be
passed down
as bad info.
I think, wow, man.
What do you think?
I think that's, first of all, a profound thought. To think that we can even recognize that ignorance can be passed down generationally. And I agree with that.
Okay.
Just like money can be passed down and how to handle money, you could be passed down not to know how to handle money.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sort of stuck on that topic. Do you have another thought on it?
Yeah. Religion. I would say that I know as a kid I was dragged to church. It wasn't bad, you know. I love church and I respect church. I don't attend church. But I do believe in God and I do believe in Jesus, and that's not here.
That's
or
a
there.
theological
right, yeah,
subject.
Yeah, that's not here or there. But I think that by passing down traditions without the ability to cognitively accept those traditions could be bad behavior itself. Like, not saying my parents were satanic worshipers, but if they drag me to that church and I become a satanic worshiping, then, and it's not bad if you are, but then that would be something I couldn't be in control of.
And I guess what I'm gleaning from this is that, in a sense, authority is a form of tradition.
Yes. And it would be...
And you can pass down the tradition of ignorance. You can pass down the tradition of enlightenment. And I think that makes a little bit of sense, hearkening back to trying to debunk World War II event of the Holocaust as to why that would be illegal. Because whether it happened or not, the story serves as an awesome reminder of what can happen when people follow authority without question as to why they're following that authority. And most of the time when you see people doing that, it's because of tradition. Yes. Because tradition dictates that you should do what your forefathers did.
Wow. Right there.
I think that's And so how do we
break the cycle?
How do we break the cycle?
I think the big... Oh, man. That's a good question. Mm-hmm. I love this. Mm-hmm. How do we break the cycle? We break the cycle by educating ourselves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what if you're ignorant?
But what if you're ignorant? Exactly. And it's funny. Let's just backtrack or sidestep.
Or move into the next portion of that. Yeah,
right? Yeah. Free education. That's another topic I guess we could talk about later. But
why isn't it free now?
Why is it? How about if it is? How about if it is? We do have free education in this society, right? We pay for it through our taxes, but it's still free to anybody, any homeless person.
K through high school?
The library. The library.
Oh.
The library. You could go. I know. Yeah,
See,
guys.
I got a fixed mind. No, I got a fixed mindset on that one. I didn't even think outside the box.
Yeah, you can tell I'm a library geek. But look, you could go in there. You can order a book, any book you want, and they'll put it on their registry. Mm-hmm. But that's free education. Mm-hmm. Every time I go in there, it's never packed. It's never packed. And if it is packed, it's because they're on the computers.
So then there must be a tradition of the importance of education.
Yes.
And which I think is a different matter than
Stigma.
ignorance. What do you mean?
What do you say?
What do you mean stigma? What do you mean stigma? Well, no. What I was saying is that I think that there must be a tradition, and so to break the cycle, I don't know. I feel like education begets education.
Okay, can you explain?
Yeah. So, like, there are people who are curious about how the world works, so they set out to find out how that is, and they get answers, and they either keep it to themselves or they give the education unto others freely because they think it'll help them, these other people, pick up where they left off, so they don't have to struggle having to find all the answers on their own. So I think a part of breaking the cycle of ignorance brought about generationally by means of tradition is to literally seek to educate other people. So I think we have to go out into our communities. I think we have to literally deliver education in a way that people
can understand. Yeah, mic drop. I definitely agree with you. I definitely feel that. And it's just like you can't just say, hey, pick up a book and read.
No, because people don't even know. I got a friend today that was explaining to me that he is helping people to understand how to read the Bible. How? Mm-hmm. He gets them this card, and it basically gives them step-by-step instruction on how to find the verse and the chapter and all that and stuff, and how to locate it in the table of contents. Right. And I thought it was a good reminder that people don't even know how to research. They don't even know that they could research. They're stuck with the tradition of saying, what information I have now is good enough. So I think a way of disrupting that pattern is being teachers on how to teach, almost in a sense. And
the teachers being learners, because if we, like you said, if we just, which was powerful, by the way, if we just stop and be stagnant, and all because we have a degree, a doctorate, a master's, a bachelor's, hell, even associates, okay? Mm-hmm. Hell, even if you're just a high school person, it doesn't matter.
Self-taught at the library.
Right there, brother. But that doesn't mean that you're an intelligent person. You could follow instructions, probably fairly decent. But
which to some degree, that discipline of following instructions is good, because if you learn how to follow instructions, that says you do have an intellect to understand that instructions are a means to become educated. But I think it can't end there.
No. Because I would even argue, then if you could follow instructions off of a book, then the book is more educated than you are. Right? Mm-hmm. Because the book taught you.
Flesh that out a little bit more.
Isn't that weird?
Well, flesh that out a little bit more. It might be weird.
Einstein said, don't memorize anything you can look up in a book. That's what he said. Because a book is always going to be smarter than you. Because some guy or a group of people from Howard or Stanford, maybe not even from a university, they came up with a book of self-taught, proven experiments and experiences. And that book is smarter than you at that time before you read it.
Right. And when you join a class, people are giving you a book they think is the authority on the education you should receive. So that's why it's good to get multiple points of view on the same subject.
Good way of tying it all back together.
That was good.
Wow. And you just don't want to stop there either. You really don't want to stop there. You want to just keep going and growing, because when you think you know it all, that's when
your education stops.
Bam, right there.
So I think what that also ties into, how do I build confidence or trust in an authority figure? It's how willing are they to understand my ignorance to get me to the next level of education.
Yes, you would have to. I would think you would have to step out of your shell. You can't be too far into one thing, because if you're blocked by one thing, your perception is limited.
What's the Shelby analogy for?
Neutrality. I would think you have to be neutral and accepting and able and willing to learn. But you can't be too far into one thing, because
I don't think you can be too devoted.
Okay.
Well, no. Even devoted, I don't think it can become I don't think it should be your tradition to believe in one thing,
yes,
and one view of a particular subject as the sole proprietor of what it means to know a thing.
Because that's like dictating.
That's like Hitler.
That's Hitler right there.
You should only listen to me.
Dude, you did it. Why don't you close it out for us, brother?
Okay, it was another fruitful discussion. I'm so glad that everyone's listening,
Yes,
who
thank
listens. You. And I just want to say, I want to ask what you think about what is authority? What is the nature of trust and confidence? How do you build it? How do you understand it? How do you receive education? What level of education are you? You know, Are you the self-taught book learner? Are you the PhD? And what sort of insight has that given to you to understand how other people need to learn? And has it given you any insight at all? Because I think that's the main thrust of this conversation is to understand how authorities can be an impact in our lives, because they can lead to bad information.
Yes.
And that's not a tradition we want to uphold. So if there's no other final thoughts on the matter.
I would like to say one thing. We as a society, as an individual, we have the power and authority to crush down any bad information. We need to stop this cycle. It's a bad cycle. And how do we stop the cycle? We ask why.
Mm-hmm. Continually.
Exactly.
Continually. With that being said, thank you, my brother. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining Real Talk, and we'll see you guys later.
Yeah.